is coming.
Right, how's Canada, Levitt?
10th of August, and it's Rabbi Levitt, and it's
Right, how's
Okay, good. Welcome back, Roy. We're happy to have you back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Push Lehman, the Surus Toivos.
Amen.
Rat Hashem. Okay. So we are what are we up to?
Middle of number 4, mental occupation,
Okay. Mental occupation.
whatever that means. Okay.
What page was that again?
209, page 209 in the Horeb book.
You got it. Good.
Okay. We'll see. Mental occupation. Okay, so
It's a cute title. Mental occupation.
mental occupation. Okay, so we all want to know what this means.
This is the tough chapter, right?
Who wants to start off the reading today?
Who wants mental? Okay,
Go for it.
All right, mental occupation. The thoughts of an owl should be immersed entirely in his bereavement. For 7 days, he should engage only in such a mental occupation as is appropriate to his condition and which helps him to understand the meaning of what has happened. This reason, study, even of the Torah, is denied him. From the Job, Lamentations, the mournful passages in Jeremiah, and also Holocaust of Pilos may occupy him. If, however, he is a public teacher and his services are required, he may teach various extracts from the Torah, certainly after the first 3 days. Similarly, the Abel cannot be expected on the first day to focus his attention on the significance of the tefillin, and as without such attention, putting on the tefillin is worthless. He should not put them on the first day, but in the second day and thereafter he should, though even when his mind must not be distracted from the tefillin. Only the man of the spirit, Ezekiel, could be relied upon to with tefillin worthily on the first day. Generally speaking, any kind of entertainment is forbidden. Someone do 5 or I'll continue.
Oh, so just one thing about the tefillin. It's interesting what he says over here. I mean, generally, a veilus is inconsistent with tefillin because tefillin is called pe'er. His glory, and this person who's an oval is not he's not glorifying anything, so it's just not it's not appropriate, doesn't fit. But Hirsch is saying that it's the real issue is that one has to focus his attention on the fact that he's wearing tefillin and what it means to wear tefillin, the significance of having these parshios of Shema Yisrael and Bahayim Shemoa and Kaddish Liko Bechor, Ve'yaviachal El Haaretz, all these ideas that he mentioned before when we were talking about tefillin. It's too much for a person who is just involved in his own mourning for a lost one, Lo Aleinu. So we should hear out from here that Baruch Hashem, when we're not in a veilus, we have to make sure that we do put our attention. We're expected to put our attention. We have the ability, we have the focus. We're not taken up with other thoughts. To really put our attention on the tefillin and the significance of what it means to wear tefillin. Okay, so we have a plug for tefillin today. And interesting, the Yecheskel, he wore tefillin even on the first day,
Yeah,
but he
well,
was an exception to the rule.
yeah, didn't Hashem tell him to do that though? And that's how we know some of the laws of mourning from him.
Yeah,
Sort of contrary.
yeah. We didn't actually learn Yecheskel in Samanaf. She was one of the Sforim of the Navi that we did not learn. But yeah, there's a lot of things in Sefer Yecheskel. Okay. Okay, number 5. Okay, so we go on to Roy, you want to read number 5?
Okay. One's external appearance. It is characteristic of the Ovel that he should attach little value to his suffering personality, and that he therefore neglects his outward appearance. This state lasts longest too. See paragraph 315. There it is. As the immediate first expression of grief, kriya, that is, the rendering of one's garment, has been instituted. Following allusions in the Tanakh for further details, study Yoredeya, see so on. Taking a bath, even a cold one, or washing parts of the body in warm water is forbidden throughout the 7 days. So is any kind of beautifying of one's body. Similarly, one may not wash or cause to be washed one's clothes, bedclothes, tablecloths, and even in plain water. And the prohibition applies to newly washed clothes, completely new or newly pressed clothes, which may not be worn or put on. One is forbidden to remove any hair, be it of the head or beard. Cutting one's nails with scissors or knife is likewise forbidden. For further details, see paragraph 315. All right.
Okay. Good. So we want to continue the reading?
General. Avedus begins immediately the final leaf taking is finished, i.e., when the burial has been completed. But if a dead body is taken to some other place, Avedus begins for those mourning who are left behind as soon as they have turned their backs upon the body. When, however, head of the house is with the body and the burial takes place within 3 days, the whole household must count the 7 days of Avedus from the completion of the burial.
Okay. Nivol 315. And back to Alan.
Okay. Number 5.
315. Top of page 210.
210.
At the top of page 210 starts section 315.
210. 208, 209, and that's it. It goes to 213.
Don't have it?
No, page 212, 213.
Wow. Yeah, missing pages. You want me to read?
Second time.
Wow.
I know, I have an old book too. I don't know when it was printed, but
Is it an old book or a new edition, Alan?
Tell you.
yeah, mine was printed in 81.
Isn't that the new book I bought you, Alan?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
We just lost them. Yeah, it's a brand new book too.
Yeah, I bought it on the internet. I don't remember where I bought it from.
Mine is the 13th impression, 2020.
Oh, you have a brand new one almost. Mine's from 81, but so far I have all the pages.
It's a Cicino book.
Well, Alan came back, but he has his mic off.
Okay, so let's go to we'll go to Roy. Continue, please.
All right. Nibble. On the seventh day, one's inner self rises again and once more resumes its place in everyday life. And the still grievous and ever inwardly felt sorrow shows itself in the neglect of one's outward appearance. The removal of hair from the head, beard, or other part of the body remains prohibited in the case of the death of relatives other than parents until the 30th day from the day of burial, and in the case of the death of parents, till such time as the mourner becomes repugnant to his fellows through his self-neglect, and they tell him so or shun him, or where this is not shown for 3 months. He is also forbidden to wear new or newly pressed garments, or newly made or festive garments, or to make new ones for the whole year from the death, and particularly during the first 30 days. To wear newly washed clothes unless someone else has worn them previously. Custom also forbids taking a bath or washing in warm water for the first 30 days. For 30 days in the case of any death, and for 12 months in the case of the death of a parent. Any festive meal is forbidden to him except a Suda mitzvah. This does not specifically evoke joy in his own house and not outside it, such as, for example, a pigeon, a ben, a brit milah. Not, however, a wedding meal. He may attend a wedding ceremony only after 30 days. After the 30 days, he may do so even if the death is that of his parents, and even with a wedding meal in the case of his own wedding. To become engaged is permitted even on the day of the death. If a man's wife dies, he may not marry again until Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot has passed. Except if he is childless or has little children who are in need of a mother, or the condition of his home undeniably requires a housewife. In all these instances, he may marry again immediately after the 7 days and bring his new wife into the home. This also applies even to one who mourns for parents. This state of nivul, called shaloshim because of its 30-day duration, just as that of Avelus, is termed shiva. Beginning on the 7th day at the conclusion of the morning divine service, and ends on upon the 30th day at sunrise. For deceased parents, the day of memorial, yahrzeit, occurs every year on the anniversary of the death. On this day, everything is observed as was customary in the year of mourning. One also fasts. This helps one to self-contrition, and to inspection, and to dedication of oneself to a new life by recalling the memory of those who have passed away. So refer to your dash 395 and 402, and also to paragraph 682 of this volume.
Okay, 316. Who do we go to? We go to Lu to continue.
Only the death of those persons who belong to the narrower circle of one's life calls for mourning, because they were part of oneself and their dying leaves a void. This means a death of father and mother, brother and sister, even if only on the parental or maternal side, husband and wife, son and daughter. For all that, all blood relatives of the second or third degree should, in the first week, show some signs of mourning by their outward appearance. One does not, as a rule, observe any mourning for a child that did not survive his 30th day, because his life potential was still doubtful. In the case of the death of one's teacher in Torah, anenos and 1 day of avelos apply. For one who has openly declared his secession from all association with Judaism, no mourning is observed.
Okay. We go to 317 and to Mayor to continue. Please.
Very good. 317 says Avelut in relation to Moed and Shabbat. Just as the temple and its holiness and all that arises therefrom rests upon the national basis, so have the festivals and the seasonal holy convocations as a national character. Pesach and Shavuot, Sukkot and Shmini Atzeret, and even Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, which introduces it, make in their very essence an appeal to one's communal sense. You should not consider yourself on these solemn days, first and foremost, a son or a daughter, a brother or a sister, a husband or a wife, a father or a mother, a pupil or a friend, but a member of Klal Yisrael. Only through this consciousness that you are a member of the Jewish people, that you belong to both the destiny and mission of Israel, and that you must dedicate yourself to them, can the festivals fulfill their task, which is to guide and sanctify your life. That is why their call is only to simcha, to religious joy, telling you to unlock your heart and embrace all your fellow men. This sense of community is the essence of simcha, and therefore Avelu, which with its self-absorption and inner constraint, is in direct contrast to it. In the knowledge that one belongs to a community, every thought of individual mortality vanishes. Even though the individual fades away, the Jewish people as a whole eternally rejuvenates itself. It is eternal life and the eternal will of Him who called it into being. From this, our sages have derived a beautiful law. The high priest, representative of the people of Israel before God, actuated primarily by communal sense, is called upon to deny himself the feelings of an oning. Likewise, Aaron and also his sons were told on the death of Nadav and Avihu, what's that? V'shechem al tifra'u uvidechem lo tifremu. Let not the hair of your heads go loose, neither rend your clothes. Here then, the sense of pain and mourning of the individual had to give way to common feeling of holiness. And so our sages let every existing feeling of sadness become submerged in every moed, the festival, which invites us to share in the feeling of religious joy of being one of a community. On Yom Tov, the sense of belonging to the Holy Brotherhood of Israel outweighs the feelings for children, parents, brother and sister, husband and wife. In this feeling of community, tears dry up in the Holy Brotherhood of Israel, for which we strive. He who is an integral part of it lives with it. He never dies. And so, as soon as the insuperable state of sorrow in Aninut has passed, and the sadness has become more spiritual, and thus can spiritually overcome more.
Oh, I think you skipped a page, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's because I have an
I was
old book.
looking for the words, and I said, "Oh, where's these words over here?"
Okay, let me just I'm going to backtrack to 2:11 for a minute. Okay, it says, on Yom Tov, the sense of belonging to the Holy Brotherhood of Israel outweighs the feelings for children, parents, brother and sister, husband and wife. In this feeling of community, tears dry up, lamentation becomes stilled. He who is bowed down lifts himself up again and grasps a new life in the knowledge that he is an integral part of a whole. And so the community spirit and consequently, happiness are restored to him. Moed Hashem consecrates us all as priests. And just as the festivals put an end to those feelings of mourning which already exist at the time of their incident, so they do not allow fresh feelings of mourning to arise. They dispel them. Shabbat, however, in which the national feeling plays only a secondary part, signifies fundamentally the stability and therefore also the rejuvenation of mankind in every individual human being. Shabbat truly directs the attention of everyone to himself, to his mission in life, and to its implementation. Unlike Yom Tov, therefore, Shabbat does not dislodge the feeling of mourning, but only softens it by bringing courage and strength for daily life. Excuse me. In this spiritual height of Shabbat, which harmonizes pain and joy, showing one's life task in both, the feeling of mourning will withdraw into one's inner self for the duration of the Shabbat and not manifest itself by external symbols. From these general underlying ideas are derived the following legal details. Maybe someone else wants to continue. It's a long one.
Sure. Okay, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
And who is going to continue? Whose turn is it? Who's after Mayor? Okay. Very well. So we're up to the paragraph, he who has given scope to Avelus. Oh, so you're going to continue, Roy?
With Alan, Lou, you write or?
You want me to read?
Okay, Lou.
He who has given to Avelus by sitting Shiva, excuse me, even only for one moment before Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkos, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur ceases to be an Avel at the commencement of the Moed. And the period of Shloshim begins with the Moed. He who enters into the condition of Shloshim before the Moed ceases to be in this condition with the commencement of the Moed. For the death of father or mother, Yom Tov cancels Shiva, but not Shloshim, nor the observance of the year of mourning. Shavuos and Shmini Atzeres are then counted as 7 days, and likewise the festival of Sukkot is reckoned with us as 15 days, so that only 8 days remain of the Shloshim for one who was already sitting Shiva when the festival of Sukkot came in. However, in the case of one who buries his dead upon Chol HaMoed, or on the second day through a non-Jew, the observance of Avelus only continues inwardly and not outwardly, as, for example, in the kind of Torah study one is allowed to pursue, in one's marital relations, etc., but not by abstaining from wearing shoes and so forth. After the festival, one begins to count the Shiva, but the second day of Yom Tov is included in the count. Thus, this Shiva, however, is less stringent in connection with the prohibition of Malacha. Shloshim are, however, reckoned as always from the day of burial. Shabbos does not cancel Avelus and is counted among the 7 days. However, Avelus may not be shown outwardly, although the rules continue to apply in some respects. For example, in regards to washing oneself, occupying oneself with the Torah, marital relations, etc. The wearing of shoes, sitting on a high stool, etc., are not forbidden. For further details, see Yuradea and Orachayim.
Okay. Very good. All the halachas over here. So, yeah. Okay, so okay, we have a few more sections to go over here. So we'll continue 318. So who wants to do 318? Whose turn is it for 318?
I'll do it.
Okay.
News from
Good.
near and far. What's it say here? Shmuel, Karev, all the above mentioned rules apply only to those who are informed of the death immediately, or within 30 days thereafter, or even upon the 30th day. In all these cases, the day one receives information after the burial is to be observed like the day of burial, and Shiva and Shaloshim are counted from then onward. But if the information arrives only after the 30th day, a fraction of time is only given to the outward expression of mourning by removing one's shoes, etc. And Shiva and Shloshim are not counted. In the case of the death of parents, however, the restrictions which usually apply even after Loshim remain, and this lasts for a period of 3 months or until one's outward appearance makes one objectionable to one's friends. Similarly, one observes all that is left of the year of mourning, and the latter is counted from the day of death. Perhaps there are some psychological grounds for the above-mentioned regulations. A death which has in fact occurred sometime previously, but of which information has been received only recently, brings sadness in a milder and more resigned and more spiritual form, and so is a matter for one's thoughts only. For that reason, just as the Torah instituted only one day for the commemoration of spiritual events, such as, for example, Shavuos and Shemini Atzeret, just as example for Shavuos and Shemini Atzeret, one day, so our sages follow the invocations in this case, in this the case of death, which has taken some place time before. The feeling experienced in the news of a distant death does not require so much care in the latitude given it, and in its constraint, as therefore feeling the former as is of itself gentler. The feeling experienced at the news of a distant death does not require so much care in the latitude given it and in its constraint as the feeling experienced by a death of which one hears immediately, just because the former is of itself gentler. Correspondingly, Kriya does not apply in the case of a death, the news of which is received after 30 days, except in the case of the death of parents. For all further details, see Yodea Oratory.
Okay, 319. Back to Mayor.
Okay, 1 second.
Sudas Havra v'nichum avelim.
Okay, let's see, 319. Okay, let's see. Sudat ha-bria v'nichum avelim. There's already been mentioned several times how the assuaging of one's anguish at the death can be fully achieved, first by uplifting oneself nearer to God, and secondly, by a sense of belonging to the community. Through the latter, orphans will again find their parents, their children, brothers and sisters, their brothers and sisters, the widow of her husband, and the husband, the woman who will manage his home and be a mother to his children. For the community in the aggregate must become everything to the individual within it, receiving the orphaned and taking the part of the widowed. Those who are bereaved of children and to whom it seems that they have lost the raison d'etre of their lives will find it again in the bond of community, in the holy brotherhood of Israel, for which we strive. He who is an integral part of it lives with it, and he never dies. And so, as soon as the insupportable state of sorrow in the aninut has passed, and the sadness has become more spiritual, and thus can be spiritually overcome more easily, the Avel should be made to feel his link with the community, and thereby healing will gradually come to him. The first meal of which he partakes on the first day after the burial should not be his own, but his neighbors should send food and drink. This meal is not sent to the mourner late on a Shabbat Eve, shortly before the commencement of Shabbat. It is the custom to send eggs, which by their round shape recall the ever-rolling cycle of the progress of life. The meal is given only on the first day. If the first day is passed, this practice is not observed, nor is it observed where information of the death is received after 30 days. In the same spirit, members of his community should visit him during the whole of 7 days, and by these visits bring him that very consolation with which the sense of community affords. One should not be reticent in expression of one's sincere sympathy in words, showing that life in all of its vicissitudes is but a task which our Heavenly Father has imposed upon us in his wisdom and righteousness and love, and which can be fulfilled only with love. Do not offer any word of comfort until you see that the mourner desires it. Otherwise, show him your sympathy by your silence, for your very present evidences your sympathy.
Huh. Okay. Very interesting what he said over here, I noticed. He said that a person who Lolenu lost a child, so he could even go so far as to have lost his reason for living. I guess that's what those words mean, raison d'etre, the reason for living.
Mhm.
They don't see any reason to continue to live anymore. They were living only vicarious lives of what their children do. Which, okay. But they will find, so they're very, very unfortunate situation to be in. But he says they'll find it again, meaning they're what is it that they do live for, and that there is reason to continue to live in the bond of community. And what is that community? In the Holy Brotherhood of Israel, for which we strive. This is our reason for living, to further promote and strengthen the Holy Brotherhood of Israel, Klal Yisrael. And he says someone who is an integral part of Klal Yisrael, he feels himself to be part of the Jewish people. He identifies with the Jewish people and their destiny and their mission in the world, and he lives with that recognition. Of course, with in, in this with Torah and mitzvahs, such a person, he says, he never dies. Um, and so as soon as as the insuperable, I'm not sure what that word means. Like he can't unsurmountable, I guess maybe what that means. I don't know. Maybe somebody knows what that word means. A lot of words here that are very not familiar. That level of sorrow in the time of Aninus, which is before the mace has had kfura. The time of Aninus, as soon as that time has passed, and he says the sadness has now become more spiritual, and now it could be spiritually overcome more easily. And the Avel can be made to feel his link with the community, and thereby healing will gradually come to him. So I see over here he's talking about the fact that the Avel, the one who has had the loss, he will come back to himself and be able to have the strength to continue with his life, because he is part of the community, and the community reaches out to him, and he's made to feel his link with the community that he has, which is of course strengthened when people from the community come in and sympathize with him in his loss, and that will create his healing. And I was thinking that also in terms of it would be a comfort to the Avel to know that just like he doesn't die because he has reason to continue to live, but the person that the loved one that he lost was hopefully also a part of this holy brotherhood of Israel, and therefore, really, in truth, he also doesn't die, because he was part of the community, and he continues as well, because the community continues. I think that's what he means, and that itself should be a comfort to the Avel. Why is the Avel sad? Because his loved one has passed away, but really we're saying that he continues. He continues on. Because he was a part of the integral part of the community. The community doesn't always continues. Okay. Oh, and we're way out of time, I see. Okay. I should save my drushes for earlier in the class. Okay, Mayor, here's the notes.
Okay, thank
Tell
you.
Rabbi Fairman it was my fault, and have a great day.
Okay, and everyone else should also have a great day.
Amen.
Okay.
And we will be back with Bava Metzia very soon.
Yes.
Anybody there? Anybody hear me? What's the sound?
Mhm.